Hey YouTubers, this is Jacques Gaines from Jacques Gaines Photography, and what a beautiful photo of Melissa. She looks great, but let's make her look greater. And what we're going to be using to do that, to come up with a beautiful mystical photo, is we're going to be using layers like this. We're going to be using a canvas. We're going to be using the Essentials tab. We're going to be using some creative stuff in here. And all of this via layers. We're going to have ourselves some fun so that we can make this into this. Stay tuned. Before I start, I want to tell you guys that I am a Luminar partner, and there is a special going on all summer long. You guys, not only do you get the rebate for the summer special with my discount code, you get the discount on the special. So it comes out to a very low price for you guys. I always mention that. I want to mention it to you guys that I am a Luminar partner. I do love the software. I really do. But I want to make sure everyone knows that before I start editing. So let's edit this photo right off the bat. So the first thing I do is go to the Essentials, which is crop and making sure that light is okay. This was taken with the 60 Mark I. And you can see right here, the little panel here, there was a flash. So up here, up in the top right corner, there is a beauty dish, very high lit up. There's another flash here, which is, as you can see, is at off. So this is illuminated with only one flash. I really find Melissa's position is really, really cool here. And I really like it. You go to the first tab right here, which is the Essentials tab, where you have basically all the essential stuff, something you'll see. Let's say if you're in Photoshop, first thing you'll see are some of the things like light, contrast, and all that stuff. So let's go play with that. I will not make a new layer for this. I will just play with the existing layer I'm using right now. I'm going to go to light. And if you go into light, you can play with temperature. You can do an as shot, and you have some of the presets right here, but you can also use this little tool here if you want to go and white balance. You take this, click on it, and you go sample a certain part of the photo that you think should be white or black, and you should be able to balance your whites if ever they are off. But for now, I just want to play a bit with temperature. Now, Melissa is Mexican, and it's kind of cool. Her skin is like naturally this brown and beautiful, that sort of Spanish look. So I can, if I wanted to, accentuate that. But as you can see, it would accentuate the overall light. So what I'm going to do is just basically bring it down a tiny bit, and I'm probably cooling it off just a bit. I will not touch tint and exposure. Well, I'm a damn good photographer, so the exposure is kind of perfect. Maybe I can bring it up to accentuate what's going on, but there you go. Next, what I will do is I will shut that down. Light is done. AI enhance and AI structure, I don't touch. I'm not a big fan of them. If you play with them a bit, you're going to see it's just not a type of thing that I like to play with. I think it fools around with the dynamic range a bit, and I don't like it doing that. But all you HDR fans, you might want to get into AI enhance or AI structure. Remember that over here you have this little button here that will turn the effect on or off. But I just want to make sure and turn it off. You can play with your color. I will not do that here. Black and white conversion. You can have some fun with this. I can tell you guys that the only software that I think equals Luminar for its black and white conversion is Capture One. Honestly, I really do think the black and white conversion in Luminar is absolutely amazing. And coupled with the contrast and smart contrast, you can do some really crazy cool artistic shit inside this software. So I just wanted to mention that. I will not be doing any black and white on this, but I just wanted to mention that. Details enhancer, do not touch. Denoise, if you have a photo that is very noisy and you had to take in low light and you had your ISO way up at 5,000 or 6,000, this might be something you want to play with. And you can play with color noise or luminosity noise. Landscape enhancer we will not use, and vignette is here, and I don't think it should be here. I really think that vignette should be in the creativity tab, because I really do think that if you want to add a vignette to a photo, it is something you want to do to be creative. Therefore, I don't think it's a good idea to put it here. I think they put it here because they figured that the vignette is undesirable. Therefore, you might want to take out vignette if you do have vignetting inside your photo. So those are the essential things I do at the beginning. As you can see, this essentials tab, I don't use that much, but I personally consider these two dots right here essentials as well. We're going to go into canvas right away, and we're just going to make sure that this is cropped and rotated to what we like. So for doing crop, what you have to do is go into the tool right here, the canvas tool. You click on that, you go to crop and rotate, and you bring your cursor right away to any one of the corners, because you can crop and rotate in the corner. On the side, you can't, you can only crop. So let's say you go here, and as soon as you click on this, you get the grid. You can pull in, and you can change your rotation as well. By pulling back, you can change your rotation. There you go. I love it. With the shadow here from the flash, that's really, really cool. Sip of wine. Now, if I did some of the cool features in Luminar 4 is that you have an erase thing. If you have stuff you don't like, you can press the erase button. Let's say I don't like this reflection right here. I can go here and just do that. And press done. And I'll get rid of that reflection and fade it into the whole image. I just did that for you. I actually like that reflection, but it's gone now. So there it is. It's gone. It's okay. So the next step is that I go into clone stamp. Clone stamp is for taking care of anything involving errors or blemishes or anything like that. You can use clone stamp, and you can zoom into your shot, and you can go and clone stamp, and it's definitely a great tool. Her skin is absolutely flawless, so I will not be doing any clone stamp on this photo at all. So once I've done all the essentials on the initial layer of the photo, whatever creativity stuff I do, I create new layers in adjustment layers. And the reason why I do this is that I'm able to either play with blend modes or scale down the effect that I put into the photo. So let's do that right away. Let's create a layer. The first thing you do is you go into the layer section right here. So you just go into this button right here, and then you press plus, and you do add new adjustment layer. When you do, you've created a new layer, and at the bottom here is your initial layer. First thing I do is I rename. So let's just call it for now just layer 1. Layer 1. There you go. Now what happens here is that all your tabs are available except for certain things, and I'll explain that later on how it works, but you have all your tabs available here, and you can start working in different stuff. In the case of a model like this, I will go straight to this one right here, which is the portrait tab, and I will directly and not even hesitate go to AI skin enhancer. I will take this button right here and I move it up to 86. Now, you guys can go on, you can bring this down, bring it up, but my judgment has always been between 80 and 90, and it's always been the same each time. Now, let's just zoom in, just go in close and see what it does. Let it process. Okay, so that's, let's take the slider here, width, without, and width. There's the skin before, and that's the skin after. Skin before, skin after. I just wanted you guys to see that so you can see the effect that it does. Now you can scale this down, let's say to bring it to 31%, where it affects the skin but not as much. So for example, in this part here, we see a bit of the veins, you'll still see them a tiny bit. You know, you got to keep everyone looking human. You know, that's part of the whole thing as well. But that's the, I put it at that amount, 80 some. So now my next step here is I played with Skin Enhancer, and it's done a great job. It's done what I needed to do. Portrait Enhancer, nothing will show. And the reason why nothing shows is that the software has not detected a face. It's that simple. AI Portrait Enhancer, that won't work. You have this effect called high key. And if I put that up, you can see what it does. It's kind of a cool effect. I mean, a lot of Instagrammers might like something like that. You can play with standard, high key, how much you want it in there. I shut that off. I do not want that. I just like the natural look of her skin. Orton effect is really, really nice. At one point, we put the music on and I just let Melissa go. She started dancing and we came up with some really, really cool poses. So in this case, I can put Orton effect here. I'll just show you what it does real quick. Brings in a little dreamy look. Now, the only problem with this is that I'm not going to keep this effect in, because if I do a dreamy effect like that, I'll want to do it on a new layer. Therefore, I will go up here and press this, the layers tab, and add new adjustment layer. I guess I'll call this Orton. I can call it Orton. Let's just call it, yeah, I just want to call it creative. The reason why I want to call it creative is that I might change my mind. Sometimes I don't use Orton effect. I use mystical, which is another cool one. So let's put this in, call it creative. There you go. So I call this creative. There it is. It's there. So now let's take this creative one, go back to the tabs here, and I will pick the creative tab, and I will take mystical. So I've created the tab right here, and that's really great. That's good. Now I have a choice. Now I'm thinking ahead for you guys. I can use what's called the Orton effect, but I can also use a thing called mystical, and they're not in the same tab, which is another weird one, Luminar, just so you know. But if you go into the portrait tab, there's Orton effect. For now, we're going to let it go and just let it slide right now. We're going to go into creative right here and play with mystical. Now, I'll just bring up mystical so you can see what it looks like. You can see how much it has, how similar it is to Orton effect. You see, you can play with that right here. Amount, there you go. Remember that whatever effect you put in, because you're working with layers, you can play with your blend mode, how you want it to affect your photo, darken, color burn, multiply. You can do all kinds of stuff, overlay, and get that effect to do all kinds of different things. But in this case, I will just create this, and I'll go back here, mystical, bring it down a tiny bit. There you go. Dramatic is also a nice one, just so you guys can see. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. Very, very cool. So I really like this shot. I like what's happening here. I find it very cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to call it LUT. Add new adjustment layer. Okay, and this one, I'll rename it. Call it LUT. What is a LUT? LUT is a color lookup table. That's what a LUT is. So I made it a new layer here. I'm going to go into creative here, and you see color style LUT. Now, Luminar and Photoshop and everybody can tell you that a LUT is a lookup table, and it's the way you tell the color to behave when it's going to be shown on a screen or whatever. But what it all boils down to is it's a filter. It is a filter. I mean, it's the equivalent of what an Instagram filter is, a lookup table. So let's go here, color LUT. Play with this just so you can see some of the looks you can get. Bakersfield, Long Beach, Los Angeles. I go through them, and that's, by the way, is another advantage of Luminar over Photoshop. Photoshop also has LUTs, but the problem is you can't see them. You have to click to see the actual LUT. What I really like is you just hover over each look, and you can see what each one looks like. So far, I'm liking Long Beach and San Diego. They're drastically different, but it doesn't matter. I will show you why in a minute. I will take Long Beach, stick it in there. There you go. I will create another. First of all, I'm going to rename this. Rename Long Beach. Yeah, Long Beach LUT. There we go. Now I will go into here, create a new layer, add new adjustment layer, and I'm going to call this San Diego. Rename San Diego. So here we go. Got a San Diego LUT right here. We go into right here, go back into LUT, choose LUT, take San Diego. Now I'm adding both. Both are there. So if we take this out, you see that that's what Long Beach does. And that's what Long Beach does this. San Diego does that. Now you can play with this, pull this down, just have a bit of San Diego, and just have a bit of Long Beach. Now you have to watch out because you cannot preview and look at stuff while you're adjusting underneath because of the way Luminar works. But I really do like the color happening here. I really do. There you go. That is the color treatment that I will have on this photo, and that is about it because, you know, the photo was just really happening in the first place. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to create another layer, add new adjustment layer. I'm going to play with Sunrays on this. Rename layer. Sun rays. Cool. And we're going to go into some artificial stuff right here. Sunrays. This is in creative, I do believe. Yes, it is Sunrays right here. We are going to place sun center. First, I'm going to pull the amount up so I can see where the sun rays are. Now, everybody, don't panic. Don't worry. It's going to look fine. It's going to look cool. Now, what's really cool, watch this with the AI when I pull it in back of her. Boom. It's as if it realizes that the sun is behind her and is shining behind her and is giving her sort of a light feel to her. Now, for that reason, I think I'm going to leave it there, go into advanced setting, change the number of sun rays to less. I find it looks better. Sun radius, sun glow radius. Sun glow amount. You can play with all of these sun warmths. You want it to be warm because Melissa is a warm looking girl. There you go. That's really crazy. You're not matching the color at all. But I believe something like this would match the color of her skin and what is happening in the photo. You can also randomize the rays and just play with what you'd like to see. There you go. The amount, you can bring it up, bring it down. Now, the AI isn't perfect, so sometimes you'll see a ray like this. You can always go into Edit Mask, take the brush, go here and see your mask, and then you play with it and push it in. Now, as you can see, I'm putting where I want the mask to be. Open and close brackets makes your brush bigger or smaller. There you go. And you brush in. I am in a raw photo right now, so Luminar is doing what it can to show me. It is the big critique with Luminar. The AI is great, but it does sometimes have it is a bit slow when it's time to process, and definitely when it's time to make decisions, when you want to see what's happening. There you go. This will make it so nothing will appear behind. I'll take the mask thing off. You'll have to zoom in. Right here. Make sure that doesn't appear. Now I just made it appear. That was stupid. Paint erase. There you go. There you go. Let's pull that out. I find that looks kind of cool. Now remember, I'm on a layer. That's what's great. So I can pull this adjustment out and not have as much of it, and play with how much of the adjustment I'd like to have. There you go. Now you can do that as well within the actual thing you're working with. So I can take overall look and I can scale it down as well. I might change how. Yeah, I need some rays at the bottom popping it. There you go, right here. I think that looks very, very cool. Cool, cool, cool. Make another layer, and in that layer, I will play with my Orton and Mystical. Edit. Rename. Mystique. How about that as a layer? Now remember, as soon as you go down, the layer on top disappears. I think it's important to mention, because even I didn't know that initially, because I was so used to a Photoshop work ethic. So make sure when you go down to here, you're losing all the effects. And it's just the way Luminar works. That's the way they do stuff. Let's go to creative. We're going to go into mystical, and I will bring that up. See what that does. Wow, that is beautiful. I like that. I think I like that a lot. I will make a new layer. I'll call this basic. Now here I'm going to go and play with some of the more essential stuff like light, using smart contrast, and bring my exposure up. See, I've put so many effects on this thing that it kind of has done a bit of a job on the photo itself. I really like that. Now, you can play with other stuff afterwards. You can go into black and white conversion, convert to black and white, see what it looks like. Wow, black and white is just crazy nice. Really, really nice. So that's all I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show you guys this edit, but the most important thing I wanted to show you is that layers are a fantastic way to actually be able to scale down and bring up some of the effects you've already put into your photo. Now, it is always fun because you can go back in your history, and you can do that everywhere within the software, but I think it is also nice that you can play with layers and your essentials within Luminar, just as well as in Photoshop. So remember, guys, I am a Luminar partner, and there is a special all summer. Check it out at the bottom, guys. There are some deals. My discount code works on top of the rebate of the bundle. So I hope you enjoyed, you guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to check out the whole Luminar playlist that I do have on this channel. Guys, keep on making something from nothing.